Alright, so let's talk about how Zoro and Nami are really the most influential Straw Hats to their captain Luffy. Because they have a lot of moments in the story where they actually push the narrative in the story, just being alongside Luffy along the way. Like Nami and Zoro are his first crew members to be in fact. Zoro is the first one and Nami is the second one. She did leave for instance, betrayal with Arlong Park, but that's a whole mishap in itself, So we're not gonna count that. I really do believe that she is the second crew member on Luffy's ship for sure. And Nami is the first crew member that we actually seen in the story to be in fact also. Like pushing the narrative. Take this for instance, like after the events of Arlong Park and all that situation with Nami, she officially actually joins the crew officially. She been a part of the crew either way. She was still journeying with them and actually doing stuff with them, but she just left on her own accord when she was reminded about Arlong and all that stuff. She actually forgot about Arlong. It's so crazy. And she was reminded because of a wanted poster of her situation. She was having too much fun with Luffy and the other Straw Hats. That shows a lot, her relationship with the Straw Hats. But we're pushing the narrative. Let's take Whiskey Peak for example. Whiskey Peak is actually where the Alabasta saga gets its proper start. This is when we really start dealing with the Baroque Works agents and all that jazz, where Zoro just took out 100 Baroque work agents with ease, and one of them being actually the Princess of Alabasta. So in that situation, Nami went ahead, what his name is, I think Ingram. Yeah, Ingram. He went ahead and tried to make a deal with Zoro to protect Princess Vivi, since she found out to be the Princess of Alabasta. And Nami went ahead and stepped in, trying to bribe him, trying to get some money out of this situation like she usually do. So she went ahead and inquired Zoro to go ahead and protect Princess Vivi because she can't do it. She's not a combatant. That being said, it looks like they did push the issue and narrative of the Alabasta saga just from that instance. And Zoro and Luffy had they fight. I need to rematch of that one day for sure, especially right now. And they went ahead and talked with Princess Vivi about the Alabasta situation and how what's gonna go down. So they needed to get her back to Alabasta so that we can go ahead and deal with the situation about Crocodile. And it's interesting. Without that conversation with Ingram, Alabasta would have never happened, honestly. If Zoro just killed him right then and there, that would have been it. Phoebe would have been dead. If Nami would have never bribed him, Phoebe would have never been saved by Zoro. Easy as that. And there is some instances in Jaya where they pushed the narrative, but it wasn't they were seeking information about the Sky Pia, the Sky Island, but they never got it because they ran into Bellamy, that bitch ass hyena. But it is a significant moment that happened in Jaya for all three of them. They did meet Blackbeard. Nami and Zoro are the only other crew members to see Blackbeard. Jinbei did see Blackbeard, but he wasn't officially a part of the crew at Impel Down. But still, they are the only two people that seen Blackbeard for a reason. And they just know what that man is about. About that, oh, it's not him. It's not just him. It's them. I still wonder what that is. That was very ambiguous of Oda to put that in like that. Because people are saying, oh, he got multi-personalities. Oh, there's 3 people, 3 hearts. I just think he had a crew because, yeah, it was just talking about their crew because a man like that stature talking that high about dreams of some sorts, he has a lot of ambition. They just sense that off rip. This dude is either a captain or he's a part of a huge crew. They just felt that. I think they just sensed that from him. Not like when Luffy broke the news to Usopp that we're gonna have to get a new ship because the Mary has significant damage. Zoro did step in a little bit, just tell him to calm down. You don't need to fight, just talk it out a little bit, throwing punches at each other. Luffy and Usopp's argument about the Mary just shows a lot between the crew. With Luffy, this was a decision that it was so hard for him to make. It was agonizing for him. Come on, it's he still cares about the Mary as a person, a part of the crew, but he knows for a fact after getting the information from a shipwright off of a shipwright island that the Mary has not that long of a life left in her. So he made the decision to get a new ship just off of logic, and that's one of the times Luffy actually uses logic. But Usopp being the stubborn person that he is, just like his captain, and the fact that that ship was a gift from his friend back from his hometown island, Kaya, he doesn't want to give up the ship for emotional reasons. But still, the ship is no longer useful to them since it's no longer functioning at this point. There's more reasons why Usopp wouldn't give up the ship because he see the comparison of something being useless like something being useless, and he just see Luffy just throwing it away is something that's useless to him. Like, that's why he sees himself. Like, at this point in the story, Usopp did just get jumped by the Frankie family. Like, he's broken and battered. He got robbed for their money. And, like, the ship is, like, now broken as well. So he just sees himself within the ship. Like, he might just get thrown away as well. Just like the ship is, since it's not as useful as it was than it was before. But remember, the Zoro was the one that decided to let this conversation flow. Just let them talk it out first before they just start fighting over something that doesn't need to be fought over. I'm going to mention this as well because he did have a good input too. Sanji did check Luffy at this point because he was about to say Usopp get off the ship or something of that sort. Because Sanji, I see him as the role of the protector of the crew, trying to keep them together of some sort. Of course, the captain is the person that keeps the crew together and just have them like follow their lead and like give them their objectives, of course. But this crew works differently, obviously, because this crew is just people have specific roles and people just do what they want. Sanji's real road is like keep people cool, collected, and fed. And he's like I said beforehand, he's more the hero of the group, honestly, or the protector of the Straw Hats than Luffy is. Because Luffy just does his own thing, of course, but still he still cares about his friends, of course. If he sees them in immediate danger, he will go and rush to save them immediately. Sanji though, he just there like bodyguarding, you know, keeping the crew together. Like, Sanji is the emotional glue that keep these stubborn bastards together in any situation. This is when the duel was set. Nami went ahead and tried to have Luffy like back out of the situation, but Luffy was not, obviously, because he can just tell from Usopp's eyes that he meant business. He knew for a fact he wouldn't make a decision about endangering his life in the state that he was from getting his ass beat from the Frankie family at that time over anger. He just noticed and sensed that he actually felt like disgusted with himself. He was disgusted with Luffy from the decision that he made also about the Mary. With Nami's conversation with Luffy, it just shows that she's trying to keep the peace amongst the crew, like trying to keep them together as well, just the same as Sanji, but in a more civilized manner by just having a conversation after they cool off. But like I said beforehand, Luffy said that ain't gonna fly. It got to this point. It's coming to an end. Like he wanted to fight me. We're gonna have to fight. That's what it is. They tried to talk it out. It failed. But it looks like here that she's still trying to keep the peace amongst the crew. Like Zoro and Sanji having a dumbass argument about what if this could happen? Hey, if this didn't happen, if you was there, this wouldn't have happened. Like, you know, some bullshit like that. It was just meaningless arguments. Like, Zoro and Nami have very different distinctions on situations amongst the crew. Cause like when the duel was going down, Nami was like shook, couldn't even watch it with her very eyes. Zoro was keeping locked in, focused. Nothing was, no sweat at all. Everybody else was sweating a little bit. Zoro was just like, this gotta happen. Like, I let him talk it out. It come to blows. This how it is. This how I gotta be. Like, one of the best parts of this fight was the end. When Luffy walked up to the Going Merry, where the remaining crew members were still on the ship. Nami was seen crying. Luffy was literally saying out loud that it was real tough beating up his friend, his crewmate, his subordinate, to the point where he is no longer a part of their crew. And Zoro's response was one of the coldest things about this. He literally said, that's what it means to be a captain, isn't it? To do the tough things. You can't doubt yourself nor your decisions, because if you waver, who can we trust? That was hard. At this point, Zoro just went ahead and made the decision for the crew because Luffy was just unable to like contain his emotions from the situation. He went ahead and just tell everybody to pack their stuff and let's go. We can't come back to the ship because it's just too much right now. This is one of the instances where Nami and Zoro had a big part to play in Luffy's like mentality of situations like this. Another time this happened to be in the same arc of Water 7. So when Robin was portrayed to have betrayed the Straw Hats, Zoro made a statement stating like we gotta make sure to see if she is actually our friend or if she's actually our foe, because it seems like she went ahead and betrayed the Straw Hats to a point where she pinned a crime that she committed on the Straw Hats through her affiliation with them by attempting to assassinate the mayor of Water 7, Iceberg. In this situation, Zoro was just trying to make everyone understand the situation at hand, that Robin did pin a crime against them. He was just assessing the facts, of course. like with Robin trying to pin the karma against them. Like they barely knew anything about her from the get go when she joined the crew as an enemy. She basically just stowed away on the ship. He let in everything that be known. Like we don't know what's the situation is with Robin. Like she could be in trouble or she could be actually serious about pinning this stuff on us. Even Nami in the situation like didn't declare Robin as like a friend, but she didn't declare her as a foe either, the same as Zoro. He was undecided in the situation also. No, just from hearing Zoro's standpoint, Luffy went ahead and made the decision that we are going to capture Robin. We gotta go to the next assassination attempt. That something was gonna go down that night, and we gotta go ahead and capture Robin so we can actually get some clarity of the situation. Like what is she to us? Is she being held captive by someone else, or is she just straight up betrayed us in the situation at hand? Another instance where Nami and Zoro's voices were the most influential was when Usopp was trying to rejoin the crew, to go ahead and just rejoin the crew after the events of Enies Lobby, you know. But Zoro was not having that. The way Luffy was just gonna go ahead and just accept him amongst the crew, like nothing ever happened, like, you know, like we're all good, don't worry about it, like that stuff friendly shit. Zoro was not having that at all, because in this situation it just shows like if he accept Usopp's in that crew, Zoro would have lost a lot of respect for Luffy in that situation. Because if you don't demand respect in a situation where a man disagrees with you and he's wrong, it just shows that you're weak. And of course, being that man that was your former subordinate and you just want him to be a part of your crew again without acknowledging what happened beforehand, it actually just shows that you are weak in the situation, of course. And Zoro would not have that as a leader, his captain, because if the captain won't demand respect in that situation, then the crew will just fall apart. Stated by Zoro himself, and that's just 100% true. Because come on, without a leader that just like demand respect and demand like for his subordinates to take up responsibilities that he cannot be able to do so himself, that just shows that it's going to be a weak, pathetic crew. It's not even going to be a crew anymore. It's just a group of people that just traveling the world. And even Zoro stated, like, listen, if you let him join this crew, get on this ship again without an apology, I'm leaving myself. Because they're like, come on, there's nothing here for me then. Like, you're weaker than me. I will not take orders from a weak man. Honestly, in this situation, it reminded me like a big brother, little brother situation, because Zoro is older than Luffy by like 2 years. I mean, I don't know, 2 years have a big distinction, but still, like Zoro just knows like more like respectable manners of stuff like with this manner, you know. Because in all honesty, we all know Zoro could be able to lead his own pirate crew if he wanted to, but that ain't his role. He's here to check the captain when it needs to be, like in this situation. Because you just can't disagree with him here. Like, if he would have went and got Usopp, that would have been a very weak move. Like, wow, you let this man back on the ship after he just disrespected you like that in that manner? Like, disagreeing with you? He even came to blows with you, man. He wanted to fight you. Like, like, nah, that wouldn't have fly there. Even Sanji agreed with Zoro at this point. Like, he stopped Nami. Nami even got her voice in this situation also, because she was just going ahead and allow Usopp to go ahead and join the crew just like Luffy. And that would have been the wrong move to make. Like, honestly, because it would have just shown them as a weak crew. Even Zoro said we can't even trust a man to do that off of an impulse, because he's right. He's just right. Sanji even agreed with him, like I said beforehand. Sanji does not like Zoro, and he had to agree with him. Like, it would have been wrong in all ways, more than one. Because in reality, it was really about respect and responsibility. Because if Usopp didn't take up the responsibility that he was wrong, Zoro would not accept that. And it's obvious about respect too. About like he disrespected Luffy on multiple occasions. Like I said beforehand, that's why he wouldn't accept him in the crew. But that's one of the another instance that Zoro's voice had to be heard. This is one of the instances that he forced that shit. Like, nah, like real talk. It's still prominent and serious, like what he said about Usopp in this situation. Another instance, it's kind of a brief instance. It's like the situation on Zou with Sanji. So Sanji had to go ahead and sacrifice himself to Big Mom so his crew wouldn't have to handle his family issues. So it's like Brook, Nami, and Chopper was there for that moment when Sanji was technically captured by I'm about to call him some other shit, the gang Beiji. But it seems like Zoro was against everything that Sanji did in that situation. Like, he was like, first he was like, He was like, he shouldn't have got involved with another emperor, knowing the fact that we was already like trying to attempt to take down Kaido off of his throne. But in that situation, Nami was against what Zoro was saying, because in this situation, Zoro was actually wrong though. He really didn't understand the situation at hand. It was his input was just more of an outside input. She seen what was going on, like with Sanji and Capone when it was at that dinner table. Something was whispered in his ear. She got a little bit of information about his family heritage, his last name, of course. But Zoro was just on an outside standpoint, just saying his opinion on the matter, because it did seem like it was stupid on the outside hand, because he didn't understand what the hell was actually going on. Nami understood what exactly was happening, like with the marriage and all that. It was like a set up marriage with an emperor's daughter. It was a lot going on. Zoro was just like, man, this is stupid. Like, this is dumb. Like, why would he do that? Yeah, this is one of the instances where Zoro is wrong. Like, and this is just Nami and Zoro just pushing the narrative. That's what I see it as, because she was apologizing to Luffy when Luffy showed up to Zoro, asking where Sanji was, which makes sense. I feel like she took up responsibility for that situation also there. But in this situation, I feel like it was pushing the narrative to Whole Cake, because she did tell him the Sanji situation, and Luffy went ahead and made that decision based off that story alone. And he did hear Zoro's input, of course, but honestly, it didn't matter. I'm gonna be real. Zoro's input right here did not matter at all, because he wasn't there for it. Like, you know, because why would you make a decision based off someone that actually didn't see or hear what was actually going on the island? Like, I will go ahead and make my decision based off who was there and present for that situation with Sanji. It makes sense why Luffy went ahead and went to Whole Cake to go ahead and get Sanji back. Alright, so this one, it technically is pushing the narrative, but it technically isn't, because she was there on Whole Cake in place of Zoro in my eyes, because Zoro is the default to first mate, vice commander of the Straw Hats, of course, because he was not there on Whole Cake at all, but Nami was. Nami, I feel like she stepped up in a big role here, because she was pushing through with Luffy, man. Like, every situation, every out through, she was there with him, helping him defeat Cracker, getting locked up by Big Mom, being saved by Jinbei. She was there through and through. Like, only time that she wasn't present by Luffy is when the fight with Katakuri happened, I'll say. And when Nami was trying to get Brook out of that situation with Big Mom, of course. But she basically stepped up in a big way to be in fact at Whole Cake, because Zoro wasn't present to go ahead. Zoro wasn't present. If Zoro was there, it looked like they was going to go for an all-out war, but it wasn't that case. They were just sneaking in to get their crewmate back. And like, people say that Sanji's like the other wing of the Pirate King in combat, of course, but the mental state of the Pirate King, like how he makes up his decisions, is obviously that's Nami right there. Because Sanji, I don't see him like being like you know, like, this is what we got to do, Luffy. Like, yeah, it's either Nami or Zoro saying that to Luffy, like, this is what we got to do in this situation. At this situation, we got to move like this, you know, like, cause they just know it. They just know how to move with this man. Like, they known him the longest, to be in fact, of the crew. I mean, I'm not discounting like any other crew members. Of course, they know what Luffy is. He's a dumbass. Like, he just rushes in, do what he wants. Like, we all know that, but they just got like, listen, bro. Like, in like serious situations, they talk to this man how he needs to be talked to. And guess what? Luffy's gonna listen. Luffy, it's funny. Every single time when a crew gets together in situations like this, like, the only people that's really, really talking is Nami and Zoro. I swear it. Like, I really picked up on this. Like, everybody else is either asking questions or just stating like small facts to the situation. They're actually like, listen. They're like, listen, this is how I gotta go. Like, this is what we need to do. Like, Luffy just be in the background just listening, just waiting to make a decision on how everybody else is feeling. That's smart. That's him being a good leader and captain also. Just waiting how the crew feels the situation and go ahead and make a decision for him. That's good leadership traits. I feel like he learned that back in Enies Lobby in Water 7 from the Usopp situation, because he did make a decision like, alright, straight away, Mary's gone, new ship. Like, he didn't care. He deadass didn't care what everybody else thought in that situation. But now he's actually like listening, and go ahead and after he's done listening, he makes the decision from there on. Like with the help of Nami and Zoro, they're helping him grow as a person also, and like everybody else on the crew also as well. Like without Usopp being a bitch in that manner, he wouldn't have learned how like to listen. Like without that, he would have never listened. But anyway, that's gonna be the end of the video. Go ahead and watch some more One Piece videos if you want to. I also do react to Berserk as well. Go ahead and like if you enjoyed the video, of course. Go ahead and comment your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you think Nami and Zoro are the true wings of the Pirate King, or is it just Sanji and Zoro like Nico Robin stated? Anyway, I'm gonna see you guys later. Peace.